Good morning, friends. Welcome to Wake Up in the Word. Grab a good cup of coffee. Matthew chapter 8. Let's look at a place where Jesus was asked to leave. Oh my goodness, would you do that to Jesus if he showed up at your house? We're going to look at a group of people that did just that. We pick up in Matthew chapter 8 after Jesus has been out on the sea with his disciples, a stormy sea, a place where they were afraid that the ship was going to sink. Jesus says, "Oh, you of little faith," and actually calms the storm. Now, as they arrived after that incident to the other side, we pick up in verse 28. And it says that when he, Jesus, had come to the other side, to the region of the Gadarenes, two demon-possessed men met him as they came out of the tombs. They were so violent that no one could pass that way. Now, grasp this picture. These guys, demon possessed, not only were inflicting harm on themselves, but you better not get anywhere close to them either. Might beat you up, might kill you. I don't know. All because they were out of control. So when Jesus gets close to them, watch the reaction, verse 29. Do these demons know what's going on? Do they know who Jesus is? Look at the next verse. Suddenly they shouted, "What do you have to do with us, Son of God? Have you come here to torment us before the time?" See, they have a concept of what's going on. They already know. And they have this conversation with Jesus. "Have you come here to torment us before the time?" they said. Well, now, a long way off from them was a large herd of pigs that was feeding. "And if you drive us out," the demons begged him, "send us into the herd of pigs." "Go," he told them. One word, go. Just get out of these men. We're going to release them from your power. Go right now. So here's what happens. So when they had come out, they entered the pigs, and the whole herd rushed down into the steep bank into the sea and perished in the water. Then the men who tended them fled, and they went into the city and reported everything, especially what had happened to those who were demon possessed. The account of one of these men, as Mark parallels this account, says that when they came out, they found one who before had always ripped his clothes off. He ran around naked, and he was crazy, of course, hurting himself and others. Found him sitting clothed in his right mind at the feet of Jesus. Now, you'd think this would be something that would make folks just jump up and down and shout and praise God and be thankful. That's not what happens. Look what it says in the next verse. In verse 34, one of the strangest verses you'll find in the Gospels, at that, the whole town went out to meet Jesus. Of course, they wanted to meet him, but when they saw him, they begged him to leave their region. Huh? Not, "Can we bring some more sick people to you? We've got some more demon-possessed folks. We got folks that you could heal. Teach us, tell us what's going on." No, none of that. Instead, it says they didn't suggest, they begged Jesus to leave town. Wow, why would you do that? And that's a perplexing thought. I jotted down three things that I think might have been factors. There might be others, but I just popped these off the top of my head this morning. I think number one was the word fear. This was a tremendous event to have taken place, and just understanding it, wrapping their minds around it, caused the same kind of thing the disciples were wrestling with on the sea when the storm came up. A power much bigger than me. Here comes the hurricane. Here comes the tornado. Here comes the earthquake. Here comes something beyond my control, and his name is Jesus. I am afraid. And so fear is driving them to say, "Let me get back into my comfort zone, get this man out of town." Secondly, is the word intimidation. Intimidation. Those who were in control of everything from the herd of pigs to the town council probably were a little bit concerned at where their power base was moving. Is this man coming to take over? Is he going to change what we're doing? Oh my goodness, we've got a lot of little schemes going around in this town, and he might just start messing with us. And so, as you keep looking at this situation over and over, you see that these people weren't ready to change their lives. I mean, they might be saying, "Well, okay, I'm glad those two guys aren't crazy anymore, but listen, what's that got to do with me?" I mean, listen, if you really get down to it, I live over there on the other side of town. I didn't hear them screaming out there in the tombs anyhow. I didn't live close to that. It wasn't having any impact on my life. look, I need to do my thing. I've got my 5-year plan, 10-year plan. If you're like China, you got a 50-year plan. you know, I've got my plan laid out, and Jesus is messing with my plans. Well, it intimidated him being around. I'd rather him get out of town so I can be the big fish in the small pond over here and not have him messing with my life. And thirdly, I think that there's the picture of anger. Yeah, anger over what? Well, whoever owns these pigs has just lost a fortune. Pigs are a commodity of the day, or a commodity in this day. And all of a sudden, we don't have them anymore. They were not only a commodity, but like compound interest, they reproduce and they grow even more. So this is a source of someone's riches. Now we were going to have that big barbecue this weekend, and we can't even do it. Can't make the money off of it, much less the fact that I had a secret sauce I was working on and can't use it now. My goodness, what's Jesus doing interfering in our lives? And so there's a little bit of anger over the fact that there's been a loss of income, there's a loss of money, a loss of resources, all because Jesus dared to cast demons out of these two guys. You don't like this. You may have done a good thing, but I'm mad at him for it. Just get out of town. We don't want you bringing your religion here. And many of us have missed the whole point. Jesus already knows. He knows what you're doing. He knows what's going on, not just in your town, but in your heart. Wouldn't you rather Jesus be Lord over that? Oh no, we would rather take control ourselves. And we may not be as bold as these folks in Gadara trying to say, Jesus, leave town. We don't want you around here. But we, by our actions, may often do the same thing. When we evidently operate day in and day out from under the lordship of Christ, not even thinking what would Jesus do in this circumstance, and making the decisions on our own. So friends, you listening to this first verse the first time we read it may have said, I would never do that. I'd never run Jesus out of town. But let me ask you a question. In your home and in your heart, is Jesus really Lord? You may be doing the same thing they're doing, and you don't even recognize it. There's one other guy I want to point out before we close. In Mark's account of this particular situation, in Mark chapter 5, verses 19 and 20, one of these men was sitting at the feet of Jesus, and he begged Jesus to let him come along with them. I want to follow you. And Jesus said, unlike the Jews, now keep in mind, these are probably Gentiles. Please don't get in the idea that, well, the Jews were hurting pigs and it was wrong, and that's why Jesus did this. Look, no. I don't think it had anything to do with it. I think it's most likely a Gentile community as there was in that particular region. But listen, here's the other point. This man wants to follow Jesus and come with him, and he says, no, go home and tell the great things that God has done for you. Go home and tell your family and your friends. Unlike those, he was trying to keep this down, keep the messianic shadow off of him for a little while as he's preparing for his ministry to the Jews. In this case, he said, no, go tell everybody the great things that the Lord has done for you. So friends, when you ask Jesus into your life, it should not only be something that allows you to relish in his lordship and his blessing in your life, but it also be something that you want to tell others about. That's what we see today. So don't be like those folks in Gadara that decided, hey, Jesus, don't want you in my life. Don't want you in my house or in my heart. I've got better things to do. Instead, recognize that the best possible plan for your life is the one that occurs when Jesus is on the throne. Well, God bless you. Thanks for joining me for just a few minutes this morning. We'll do this again tomorrow. Start chapter 9 of the book of Matthew as we wake up.